Dear guests, we are glad to greet you. We are going to talk now on the topic 2 years since Automaidan trip to Mezhyhirya, who blocks investigation process and punishment of traffic policemen and judges guilty of anti-Maidan activists' harassment. Our speakers will be Automaidan lawyers, Roman Maselko, Iegor Soboliev, and MP Oleksiy Hrytsenko, head of Ukrainian Union, Automaidan, Kateryna Butko, Automaidan activist, Vitaliy Tytych, lawyer of the Heavenly Hundred. I am Maselko Roman. I am an Automaidan lawyer. Currently, I conduct activities to bring to the liability those who were involved in harassment of Automaidan activists, started with beating of the students and the episodes of Automaidan. Today is 2 years anniversary of the most massive action, which was the Automaidan trip to Mezhyhirya, which was an absolutely peaceful action, just a rally from the center of the city to Mezhyhirya and back. And after that, all drivers received the statements, the communications from the road safety police that they have conducted some violations of road safety rules. All those statements, 100% of those communications and court cases, they all were falsified. 450 road policemen were involved in that case, and 120 judges conducted trials also under those falsified documents provided by the road police. So far, 42 accusations, acts have been already submitted to courts from the prosecutor's office. In reality, 100% of cases submitted to courts, they have absolutely no prospects to win. We have already 5 sentences in the register of court decisions. Maybe we do not know about some judgments. All other cases have the same prospects. The thing is not that bad judges try the processes. The thing is that the materials which have been submitted to the courts, they are of very poor quality. This means that there is the only possibility for a judge to issue conclusions the judges can issue only the judgments of not guilty, because the materials that have been submitted from the prosecutor's office, they are of poor quality. So the courts return those cases for further investigation to the prosecutor's office, and the prosecutor's office again provides the documents of poor quality. So this is a vicious circle. We talked to the general prosecutor, and we said that this is a sabotage. As a result, no results followed. The investigators, they failed in their investigative activities. Despite of that, they have not been fired. Just quite vice versa. They have promotions in their careers. I checked such bad investigator who closed the cases. He is now the deputy chief of a regional prosecutor's office. No reprimands, no dismissals, quite vice versa. Those persons who brought the cases of Automaidan to failure, all of them received as a result the promotions in their careers. Here is, for example, one of the cases where you can see the document of interrogations of Automaidan. This protocol goes that one off-road police officer said that he issued a protocol against a false protocol against an Automaidan member upon direct instruction which he received from his boss, and he did so because he was afraid to lose his position with the road police. Specific persons were appointed to try in courts the Automaidan cases. Only specific judges tried those cases upon the instruction of the President of Ukraine directly. We have the evidences. They just should be collected, generalized. All episodes should be joined into one case, and the accusative judgment should be issued. An accusatory judgment should be issued. Because now all these cases are were in different prosecutors' offices examined, and now all of them have already been collected in one Kiev prosecutor's office. This is the only opportunity to investigate all the facts, not in different episodes, but in all the episodes. And then it will be very simple, because these cases, all of them are very simple. We hope that the Kiev prosecutor's office will perform the investigations in a good manner. We asked them in April 2014. Then today, after 6 months years, we can see hundreds of accusatory sentences, accusatory judgments. My colleagues will add to my words. Now the investigation has failed completely. But there is an opportunity to conduct investigations, genuine investigation and prosecution. Our major demand now to accuse and to prosecute the persons guilty in sabotage of the investigation. I am a lawyer and I represented the also Automaidan activists. My colleague Roman have already told about all legal matters of this court cases, of these trials and investigations. As Roman said, there are enough proofs, enough evidence that prove intentional, organized, illegal actions of the judges who had issued unlawful decisions based on false documents compiled by road police officers. All these proofs are easily accessible because they are based on mandatory documents which should be issued as a result of any law enforcement actions. But so far, after 2 years after this crime, in fact, the first application was also submitted to initiate the lawsuit also 2 years ago. Indeed, bringing to liability it was just sending the accusatory act for approval. Those accusatory acts were compiled as well as the documents in the cases. They are compiled so inadequately, in so poor quality, that those persons, those perpetrators of crime, of Automaidan harassment, can't be made liable. They can't be made accountable. You understand that the quality of evidence is the basis for further movement in the legislative process. Some proofs have not been included at all. As concerned bringing to liability, some judges holds so-called neutral position. The next steps that are required are to include all the proofs into the documentary dossiers. Now we have a dilemma. We try to identify what is this. is the consequence of dysfunction and degradation of investigative bodies of Ukraine? Or is this intentional, organized crime focused on barriers to prosecution of the perpetrators? And we can see that the second case is more evident. It becomes more and more obvious that the failure of these investigations is a component of a larger scheme used by General Prosecutor Shokin. All the documents in these cases, Shokin said that just do as they say. We were told to do so. We have now the negative results. The situation remains the same. The negative status of the investigative criminal procedures are observed. Now there is a case of Hrytsenko judge. The first trial, its 4 hours, were dedicated just to hearing the materials compiled by the investigators, which were very inadequate and funny because of their poor quality. I'm a politician. My name is Iegor Soboliev. I am very thankful to the lawyers, but I have political information, and I am sure that this is conspiracy due to the following reasons. This is a conspiracy between the previous leaders and current leaders of the state. For example, to Ukraine concern, he and his people returned to the governmental positions because the investigations were not conducted in the due manner in those beating and killing of people in Maidan, and the failure to investigate and prosecute the cases of Euromaidan and Automaidan. All these failures, they are a result of conspiracy. The second reason of systemic sabotage and blocking of a genuine investigation is that current leaders of the state need those people, those judges who were involved in the bloody cases. They will depend on the leaders, and they will comply with any instructions of their top management, of their bosses. Yesterday at night I saw one such judge. His name is Charles. This judge remains in place, although he is subject to lustration procedure because he was a judge in Automaidan cases and in Euromaidan cases. The first thing that the civil society should do, the first next step is that the civil society should say that impunity is the first reason why all these people return, as well as the corrupt system. If they return, we will receive new blood in the country. We should achieve the punitive sanctions on them. This is a highly important task of Ukraine. It is as important as counteracting Putin's aggression on Ukraine or as economic development. We, all of us together, along with political decisions, with a clear plan of what to do to correct the situation, we should achieve the positive decisions for the country and civil society in general. The next step for 2016 should be firing the general prosecutor because he is a key implementing person. So the new general prosecutor should be appointed instead of Mr. Shokin. We should now go to the streets with the protests, marches, and the next step should also be anti-corruption office activities. Anti-corruption office can jail hundreds of persons and thus prevent sabotage in a large scope which is present now. I am an Automaidan activist. Kateryna Butko. Mr. Shokin, General Prosecutor, has coefficient of performance. This is the number of initiated lawsuits. Mr. Shokin is proud and reports opening of cases, but for Automaidan activists and for the civil society, this indicator is nothing. The accusatory sentence, this should be an indicator, but not initiating a lawsuit. We need to see the perpetrators of crimes. We demand to sentence them. And we are thankful to our lawyers, Roman and Vitaliy, for their high quality activities. We are not going to submit our petitions to the General Prosecutor Shokin because he is the general saboteur, and we will demand from the President of the country the dismissal of General Prosecutor Shokin. So that the next general prosecutor who will be appointed instead of him, this new general prosecutor should investigate and complete the Automaidan case, a very important aspect is why is it so and why is it useful for the current leadership of the country. Hundreds of judges issued those judgments based on the false documents, and they have not been fired so far. As concerned the road safety inspectors, now those judges who issued sentences in the cases against Automaidan activists, their judge conducts a trial against the same judges who also issued the sentences against Automaidan activists. All those people are beneficial for the leadership of the country now because they can manipulate them. These people are obedient to any leadership and follow any their instruction. These judges continue to be in places and decide our fates. Thank you very much. We hope that the civil society pressure will help to finish all